Welcome to the Life Is podcast, where creativity, culture, mindset, and intentional living come together through real conversation. I'm your host, Corey Brown. Each week, I sit down with entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, travelers, and visionaries who didn't stumble into a life they love, they built it. We go deep into how they think, how they reconstructed themselves, and what became possible on the other side. This is not just about what people have accomplished. It's about the internal work that made it sustainable. Because when you build from the inside out, life expands. Let's get into it. This week, I'm sitting down with someone I've known for years, and that actually makes this conversation more meaningful, not less, because I've watched Akil Wade live this. He went from a tough Detroit neighborhood to over 100 countries, from network marketing in high school to traveling the world as Eric Thomas's videographer, from losing $150,000 to crypto scams to generating $3.8 million in 2 months, and surviving a partner-led betrayal that left real scars. From early AI experiments before anyone was talking about AI to leading communities of 2.4 million followers. And through all of it, he kept asking the same question. Who else deserves access to this world? Black Kids Travel is the answer he built. This is not a highlight reel. This is a full story, including the chapters that did not look like winning while they were happening. Here's what Akil actually lived. Well, good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of the Life Is podcast, hosted by myself. And this week, man, we have another phenomenal guest, Akil Wade, AI entrepreneur, founder of Black Kids Travel. And he's traveled over 100 countries. Yes, 100 countries. Former videographer for Eric Thomas and now an AI events builder. But with that being said, Akil, man, it's good to have you on the show. I know you're super busy. I always joke, man, you're busy with the president. So
you know what, man? Thank you, bro.
It's good. But no, man, it's good to have you on here if you can, man. How you doing? How you feeling there in South Africa?
Bro, I'm feeling amazing, man. I got a little 19-month-old son, so yeah.
Yep.
I know you know what
Yeah,
that's like.
yeah,
So yeah, bro. He's been running. I've been in the trenches. His mom's away right now in
you've been in the
Europe.
trenches.
Yeah, so me and him has just been dialed in together, bro. But feeling amazing, bro. So I cannot complain.
Man, I love it. I love it. For those who are tuning in, you'll see this on YouTube. But man, Akil's smile is infectious. But man, your child, man, he looks just like you. Beautiful eyes and just adventurous, right?
Yeah, adventurous guy, bro. Little dude is crazy.
Right. Well, hey man, I appreciate the warm introduction there. But for those, as we move forward, man, if you can, for those who are just listening, right, getting on here, and just meeting you, right, Akil, if you can, tell them who Akil Wade is, where you started, what you're building right now, and what brought you up to this specific point.
Wow, it's a loaded question. So yeah, Akil Wade, I am a creator. I am him. So yeah, bro, I just love to create. I love to just like use my body or my mind or everything to my ability to just like be as true to me as possible. And I feel like by doing that, in turn, I help people around the world. So I got my start, like you mentioned, from actually Vima. So that's where we met. So back in the day, we used to slang these energy drinks, go door to door sales, and to try to enroll anybody, like as many people as possible into this company. So started that when I was in high school. That opened up a lot of doors, meeting people like Bob Proctor, working with people like Eric Thomas to be a videographer, to travel the world to see how these guys do it. So for me, I would see these motivational speakers that I would work with, because it wasn't just ET, it was this whole crew too. And I just noticed that there was no difference between them and me. The only thing is they just shared their thoughts and their opinions, and they just talked about what they believe to others, and other people started to believe what they believe. So for me, I just followed in that footsteps. I started to go down an entrepreneur career, went into the crypto space, went into social media marketing, made millions of dollars in crypto, moved to Bali, moved all around the world. I wanted to travel the world to just, I guess, get out of my environment. And
Yeah, absolutely.
that's ultimately what helped me start Black Kids Travel, my nonprofit that you mentioned. Basically, I'm a kid from Detroit, Michigan, and I just feel like that I'm no different than anybody else that's still stuck there. The only thing that was different was I just got out of my environment and I started to travel. So me and my best friend, we created a company called Black Kids Travel. And we wanted to just be that, we wanted to be the inspiration. We wanted to be the representation in the space. So that when they turn on the TV, they don't just see, National Geography out there traveling. They also see people that look like them traveling, which can in turn get them out of their environment and get them on a different trajectory. So really, that was my goal with the nonprofit. I started to map brains online. I did this thing where I took a note-taking app and took all the notes. So if you think about, some of you guys probably use Apple Notes or Notion
Mhm.
or Google Notes or whatever. And I basically compiled those notes and I wanted to be able to visualize those notes. And I did that through a platform called Obsidian, where I can see my thoughts in a brain-like structure. I ended up turning that into a business and made six to multiple figures doing that business. And in turn, I had so many clients that I had to use AI to mine the web to find more about these clients. And this is before the whole ChatGPT boom and before things happened. So that's how I got into the space early. Started some reshare pages, one called AI the Revolution with 800,000 followers, partnered with another company called ChatGPT Tricks. We got 2.4 million followers there. Power AI, I think we got around 800,000 followers. And my personal brand, across platform with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. So that's where I'm at now, not just on the followers tip, but the impact tip. So
Yeah.
events, just being cool and traveling. That's me, brother. So thank you for the loaded question.
Yeah, yeah, hey, you unpacked it perfectly. That
Thank
was
you.
it. That was from A to Z, and someone listening, they're probably thinking, "Man, all the stuff you've done is amazing," and that's just a tip, right? So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna actually take it
100%.
back. You mentioned Detroit,
Mm,
right? So it's actually where I want to start at, taking it back to Detroit, Vima days, and really what you were exposed to,
mm,
like what was possible, right, before all this kind of transpired. So if you
mm.
can, kind of tell us about maybe, what was the neighborhood, like? What was
Yeah.
that environment? And what did you believe, about what was possible before anything changed?
So I think that, yeah, my neighborhood, I grew up in a area of Detroit called Inkster, Michigan. It's a very
Mhm.
small town. The population is, I think, like 20,000 or something. It's very small.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
knows each other. Like
Yep.
everybody's your cousin, but it's just one of those areas. Martin Luther King, actually, I mean, not, yeah, Martin Luther King came per before, but it was actually Malcolm X that lived there. He had a home there at a time. So, little small town, most people don't know about it, but the thing about it was it created an environment of family, and it
Mhm.
created an environment of, I guess you can say, it was a hostile environment. So it was just everything that I didn't wanna be like in life, you know?
Yeah, no, I
Like,
hear
I
you.
loved family, but I just didn't want to be like my older siblings at the time. I didn't wanna be like my cousins and things. I grew up with
Mhm.
a ton of siblings, I've got 6 brothers and sisters. And I've got cousins that live with us also, because we had some band members that passed away, so their kids live with us too. So I grew up in an environment around a lot of people, and it was loving though. My parents are great. My dad is amazing. My mom's amazing. Got a great relationship with both of them. Don't want to speak too much about that, but it got me to where I am. And I feel like a realization that I had early was, if I wanted different, then I would just have to do different. So I didn't want to do what everybody else around me did. And I feel like
Mhm.
that got me on a trajectory to change my life and just to surround myself around other like minded individuals like yourself, and people that didn't grow up where I grew up, that thought a lot bigger. Because I think that's the biggest thing, right? To adopt a mindset of how to actually be delusional and think bigger. And I feel like when you get around other individuals that talk about something that may be so delusional to you, and it may not make sense, that's how it starts
Right.
to make sense in your own head. So I
Yeah.
guess that's how I really started. What really impacted me, or I guess influenced me to do the things that I did in my journey. So just staying delusional at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that. You said be delusional, see what's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, really
Yeah.
can back that up. I agree. When you get around other people that are, maybe have more money, have done different things than you, it's like it kinda does crack that ceiling of like, "Hey, here's what's out here." And
Hmm.
people, either in different fields that look like you or same age, it really kinda, yeah, gives you, inspiration.
100%. 100%.
So, moving you also mentioned too offline, right? You moved to a wealthier school district, which,
Yeah.
getting involved, which obviously led to Vima, which we talked about.
Hmm.
And obviously most people I would say, maybe dismiss that as hustle doing Vima, but it sounds like that was really kinda your first, like real exposure, kinda, entrepreneurship 101, if you will.
100%.
What did that actually, I guess, what did you actually, see there that actually changed something in you when you moved and then obviously getting into Vima?
I think the biggest thing that I learned along that time in my life was that everything is up to me. I think it's almost like the game of chess,
Mhm.
right? The only way you lose the game of chess is if you make a wrong move. And I feel like what I learned in Vimo was, I was like, wow, this dude's white, he's Chinese, he's black, he's
Mhm.
he's Mexican, whatever. It really don't matter. It's just about how many like cycles are they doing in the company? And
Yeah.
it was completely up to them. So I knew that for me, like it was completely up to me to make those decisions to get me in a different place. So I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned. And still, I think that everybody needs that to know that like every single thing is in their control. It's not like AI coming to take their jobs.
No.
It's you losing your own job or you taking your own opportunity. Maybe a job that may disappear, but it's you taking your own opportunity because you're in full control.
Yep. Yeah,
Yes, bro.
absolutely. Yeah, it was like what you put in, of course, what you get out,
Yeah, man.
and you had to keep the momentum going.
Gotta keep it.
Obviously, speaking of Vimo, right? Because we were both in those days. Was there a specific
Mhm.
person, right, in that environment, who made you think like, "Wait, this is actually available to me? Like, this is real?"
Yeah, I think it was a couple people.
'Cause
I
there's
think a big one was a guy, Luke Hessler, who I'm still in contact with.
yep.
Talked to him yesterday. He was just a guy that I got to spend a lot of time with and live close to. So, and he was like a mentor to me around that time, older than me, but just had everything that I wanted. And he
Mhm.
came from a different environment than I came from, but he still showed me that like all you got to do is really go at it. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one, and then another guy named TK Cooperuno. TK was dope because he was an athlete at I went to Michigan State school. He was an athlete there, but he was black, just like I was, and he did it. So for me, I was like, if black dude can do it like that, and make all this money
Hey,
playing sports and stuff, like yourself too, playing
yeah, yeah.
sports, I can do it too. So I think that those were some big inspirations in my life at the time. 100%.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
shout out to Luke and TK to Kufa.
Shout out to the boys.
Yeah, shout
Shout
out.
out to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
boys.
And yeah, in that time, it was really cool to see young kids, young adults, man, really thriving, to your point. It
Hmm.
was very inspirational, to see that 'cause you were right by them, like, you could touch them, feel them, it was real.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
so, yeah, man, awesome, man, shout out to them, shout out to the boys.
Shout out to them.
So,
Hmm.
obviously after Vima, right, after school, you actually ended up moving to California, right,
Yeah.
which we can talk about, but at that time, right, it sounds like there was no stability, kinda living with family, struggling to find, some footing, if you will,
Hmm.
and then you encountered ET, right, Eric Thomas. Take
Hmm.
me to that moment, right? What was it about that ET landed maybe differently than anything
Hmm.
else that you had heard before?
Yeah, so I think the thing about ET was I was in that position or moment in my life to receive the message. Like before,
Mhm.
one of my best friends, Caleb, he used to always send me ET videos, and I just never listened. 'Cause I just was not. I thought that I had the whole world figured out, and
Right,
I was a
right.
victim, right? So I think at that time, I was sitting on the side of a road, and I was trying to make myself homeless when I really didn't even have to be homeless, and that was the perfect time for me to receive that message because, like, when I heard it, I actually heard it. Like, when I clicked the
Mm,
video and he talked about, like, you gotta give your life 120, and he was homeless and he ate out of trash cans. And I'm like, this dude from Detroit making millions of dollars and he older and
yeah, come on
he got the hood in him. It ain't even like he had to be whitewashed. I was like, I can do
now.
it too. So I think that that was a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
person because I think in life too, you got to always find the people that have been where you are and that have achieved something that you want to achieve. So for me at that time, that was ET. He's been where I was at and he looked like I look like, and he achieved what I want to achieve. So that was definitely a mentor for me. So I flew all the way to Michigan, back to where I was from, and I hustled. I hustled and figured out a way to get myself in front of him and to add a value by basically finding a way to refund him a plane ticket, which ultimately gave me a position on his team. But it was somebody I went from watching on a screen on YouTube to working for, which was insane. So it showed me the power of like I guess you can say the power of the mind at the end of the day.
Mhm. Yeah, lock in
Yes,
determination. Yeah,
100%.
can you also too, for those who are just turning in and listening, can you kinda take us back maybe the history of the story? So, you were in California, what were you doing at that
Yeah.
time? And then how did
Yeah,
you
so
getting the ticket for him?
so at that time, I was working I got my first job, like, got my first real job out in California, which was
Yeah.
working at Express, the clothing line company, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was there, I met a guy that let me stay on his couch, it was cool, his name was Isaiah, one of my best friends today,
Yeah.
and at that time, like, I was all over the place, my mom was telling me I should go to the military, I didn't really know what to do, I didn't I actually didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time either. I wanted to be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. I know I wanted to make it work. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And my
Right.
mom at the time, she worked at Delta, and it was cool because I got to fly back to Detroit. I spent all my money though to get there and to get on a bus to get all the way to Lansing where ET was giving a speech. And I get all the way to Lansing. My flight was delayed, so I actually missed his speech, and I was just bummed. I flew all the way there just to see this guy live.
Missed it.
And he posted somewhere, I think it was Facebook at the time or something, that he was going to a shoe place in Lansing. So I got to the shoe place. I seen him in person, poured my eyes out to this guy.
Yeah.
Everything I was just saying everything that I possibly can say, you know, to him, expecting him to be like, say something revolutionary or life changing to me.
Mhm.
And what he said wasn't. It was just like, you know, keep going and everything. And I think that the thing that I did right in that moment though is I connected with his nephew. His name is Black. I got his nephew phone number and I'm like, bro, you can do anything. Like if I can do anything for you, if I can do anything, let me know.
Right.
Like I want to be around y'all. And he like,
Look.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, they hear it all the time, especially traveling.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
whatever.
just listing out things I could do. I was like, I don't know how to pick up a camera. I'll pick up a camera. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I was like, my mom worked at the airport. I could figure something out. I know the management at the airport. You know, I'm just saying everything. He's like, okay, cool. But I get a call like 2 weeks later. And it was actually
Mhm.
from his nephew Black. And he was like, basically like, yo, you remember you said that your mom worked at the airport? We got
Mm.
this ticket. We went to, it was like they were going to speak at Taiwan or somewhere in Asia, Philippines, somewhere over there. And basically it got canceled because there was a volcano in the area. But they wanted to get the money refunded back to the company because they knew that they were gonna have to cancel the flight.
Yeah.
But what I was able to do is I told my mom, I was like, can you please, whatever you do, can you please get this ticket refunded back for me? And it was illegal. Like she wasn't supposed to do it, but she did it anyways. Of course, my mom.
That's love.
And
Yeah.
basically, yeah, she refunded the ticket back to ET's account because I gave her the account number and everything. And it was like, I'm talking about, it was like he was flying his whole team out there. So thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
So basically, I gave him all this money because he didn't pay for it. It was the actual company that was hiring him that was paying for it.
Yeah, yeah,
They ended
yeah.
up getting a refund from Delta, but my mom issued it to ET. So I just gave ET a whole bunch of money for no reason. So he wanted to meet with me. He was like, you know how to pick up a camera? I'm like, yep, I do now. So I started holding the camera. Exactly. But for me, it was just by any means. And I still apply that concept to this day of like,
Yeah.
if you really want something, you just got to move towards it by any means. There's nothing that can
Mhm.
hold you back if you really want something.
Yeah. No, I
100%.
appreciate the story, man. That's a hell of a story of how that happened. Like I said, that's yeah, it's crazy. But wild, wild experience. Was there
Yes.
anything like with ET? Was there anything specifically that he said, or maybe
Mhm.
what he said to you that you could unhear, like maybe a phrase or?
Definitely, definitely. I think the biggest thing that I learned from ET that stuck with me was one time we were traveling and it was like no hotels left in the place we were at. I think we were in New York or
Mm,
something. We were sharing a room and he like in a bed on the other side of the room and I'm sitting in the bed too. And I asked him before then, I'm like, man, what is it that really makes you successful? Like, what's that thing? You know, like so many people try it, they work really hard, they go 120, but what is it? You know, what could you tell me? And he let it marinate. And that's when we was in Michigan when I asked him that question. But when we in New York at like 3 a.m., he was like, "Kill." And I was like, wake up. I'm like, what the heck? I look over and then he told me, he said that all you really got to do in this lifetime is lock in. If you can, you'll be lucky to lock in with one other person, get on the same page that other person. And you can really build an empire because you're moving as two. But he was saying he got on the same page as two other people, which was Carl, is one of his partners, and CJ, and they got on
mm,
the same page and they was able to build an empire together because Carl stuck to the production, made sure that the videos got out there. ET was the mouthpiece. He was talking, he was the content, and CJ was the business. He was handling everything. So because they got on the same page, they was able to blow him up. So for me, I still apply that concept today. Just knowing that, you know, you can be on a page with your team. You can be on a similar page, but you really want to get on the same page as somebody else you're building with. And that's in relationships too.
man, yeah, that's really good. That's I'm sure
Hmm.
another lesson that was like, another nugget.
100%.
Yeah, to definitely apply.
Yeah.
I want to kind of keep the conversation going with ET. Really, your
Mhm.
experience with him, Gary V, right, and now just world traveling. As you were growing. So obviously you went from grassroots with ET, right? Or interacting with you, becoming his videographer and traveling globally with him.
Yeah.
So that's no small gap to close on or anything to brush off. Um, what did you have to show up as to earn that kind of success? And I know you talked about the story, but
Mm.
was there anything else that maybe you had to do, or maybe you felt like, hey, I need to do this to actually show maybe my work,
Yeah.
prove to earn
I
that kind
mean,
of.
I wanted to prove myself, man. He like gave me the opportunity. He said he gave me the opportunity. He gave me the logins to his Snapchat, so I was able to just go live whenever I was with him and really just learn how important it is just to turn on the camera and just film him because he was just being great, right? And then also, it taught me how to that I can do it. It taught me that I'm really a beast and there's no limitations. Like I know so many people are like, I need 8 hours of sleep. I need that. I need this. But I'm like, bro, ET used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and guess who had to be there at 3:30 filming them, you know? So, like,
Right, you.
I had to be up and shoot and shoot the content. So, yeah, it was difficult, but I knew that I can do it. And then from there, it just gave me that, like, muscle that I can do anything. Like, there's nothing that can stop me. I can do literally anything. I can stay up as long as I want to. I can work as hard as I want to. I can endure any pain. I can sit on the hot stones if I need to. So I think that was really something that stuck with me along the way.
Yeah, it sounds like, just listen to the story, man, a lot of conviction. Like, you were
100%.
picking up a lot of stuff that he was doing, right? What he was doing is rubbing off on you, and you're like, "Look, I got this, right? Like, I'm doing it."
Mhm.
Like you said, I'm him, right? I'm him. I'm doing
Facts.
exactly what I need to be doing.
Mhm.
Um, I guess also too along those lines, was there anything, or maybe what did you observe, traveling with someone like ET at that level,
Mm.
but you could not have learned any other way, or maybe from a different environment?
Yeah, I think that, like, when you city hop, especially, like, like I mentioned, I'm from Detroit. It wasn't like I was really moving around like that. But
Yeah,
when you around somebody and they're just moving so fast to because they're important. It was like a signal to be on how I wanna move, and also that you wanna move with precision, you wanna move like you got somewhere to go. You also wanna move abundantly. So when I would move around with him, it was like whatever it was covered, the nice hotel rooms, the food was great. There was so many things that I was able to do because I was around this guy. And I think that even today, I make sure I keep the things that are important to me, especially comfortable, very comfortable. And
yes,
it rose my standard to where I only want to fly first class. I don't look at myself as a coach person,
yep,
I
yep,
only want to sleep at nice places. I want to take care of myself. So it's moving around like that. And also how I wouldn't say the word humble, but close to it, but just
mhm,
moving and treating people with grace and respecting and seeing everyone. So that was one thing that I learned. No matter how many people we met along the way and want to take a picture, he would stop and actually be intentional with them and connect with them and listen to them. So that's something that I really took along the way on my journey too.
man. Once again, man, just good things are picking up. You said
Mhm.
traveling comfort, as Bob Proctor always talked about that. Like, man, like,
Mhm.
if you want to fly on the jet, if you want to get the best room, pay for it, right?
Pay for it.
If you travel, you want to travel in comfort, right?
Mhm.
And to your point, you definitely raise your standards. Your
Yes.
I would call like a cybernetic set point of where you want to be at moving forward.
Mhm.
Anything below that is, I wouldn't say not acceptable, but just um, it's not conducive. It's not what you want.
Exactly.
Real quick, I want to tell you about something I created because honestly, I needed it myself. For years, I could visualize the life I wanted. I could talk about it, write about it, even teach pieces of it. But living it, that was different. There was always this internal friction, like a part of me was trying to grow, and another part of me pulled me back into what felt familiar. And I realized I didn't have a motivation problem. I had a safety problem. My nervous system didn't know how to feel safe inside change. So I wrote the self-discovery blueprint, not as another productivity guide, but as a way to create internal conditions where growth doesn't feel like a threat. It's grounded in neuroscience, polyvagal theory, belief reconstruction, and everything I've learned from studying consciousness and embodiment. It's for people who know there's more in them, who can see it, but haven't quite trusted themselves to step all the way in yet. And I'm giving it to you free. No email gates, no upsells, just a tool I hope serves you in the way writing it served me. Check the show notes, download it, come back to it as you grow. So
100%.
my next question, right, Akil, to move forward, man, you've been over to 100 countries, which is crazy. Just one. For those who are listening, that's crazy. 100 countries. Um, I don't know. You're
Moving
probably
around.
percentage who's even just going to different states in the U.S. is crazy.
Right.
Which is not tourism, right? This is like your curriculum. Like you've been doing this.
Yes.
What has travel done to you, or done
Mm.
to how you see people, how you see business, and how you see yourself that nothing else could have produced?
Wow. I think that when you meet travelers, like true travelers that have been over, 100 countries and have been
Yeah.
all over the world, they're probably some of the most intelligent people you can meet on this earth. Because I feel like the lessons you learn in each country they're undescribable. They are
Hmm.
very you only can learn them by seeing it or by doing it or by being there, right? So, for example, when I think about, like I also live in France. I'm about to head to France in a couple of days. And the French people teach me something that I couldn't learn in America just by observing them or by being around them and learning etiquette and learning how to, put where to put your fork in the right place and how to be respectful. I go over to Asia and then I learn about how to really, I guess you could say, respect nature and also just be in this
Hmm.
abundant place of understanding how food works and just a culture of being happy, and then
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
go to Europe and you can go over to South America. You can go all these places, and everywhere you go, you learn some type of skill that you couldn't learn from just being set in one place. I stayed in Germany for a long time, and the Germans really taught me how to be strict and to be very straightforward with the things that I want in life, and that's typically how I feel like I get things in my life. So I feel like everywhere you go, you learn new traits of the people in these lands that didn't grow up the way you grew up or grow up in the same area that you grew up, that don't have the same mindset that you have. So I feel like it's just one of the purest forms of education or school that you can have. You learn so much from just real world abilities or just people. You learn how people think and why people think this way. People that think different, that look different than you, that
Hmm.
didn't grow up in the same tax system or programming or didn't have the same education as you. So it teaches you what's actually true and you can think for yourself.
Yeah. Beautiful explanation. I think the diversification of different countries, cultures, experiences to what you're elaborating on, man, is just like so important and so unique and rich to your point of why I would agree, right? Those people who travel, real travelers, um, are so intelligent because they're able to gain and absorb and see and be a part of, right, different backgrounds,
Yeah.
from all different countries. So yeah, I mean, it's important, and I love that. We'll talk about it later. Black kids travel here shortly, but I think that's so important to show why traveling is important. How to get out of your box, get out of your country, see different people, um, different ways of life, philosophies, culture, art, all of that's important, and just builds you up, makes you a better person, makes you a better person.
100%.
Was there
100%.
ever a specific country or moment that changed something, in you permanently? Maybe a
Mm,
um,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that a country that changed me forever was like, well, traveling. This is technically in America, but
yeah,
Hawaii definitely changed me. Hawaii changed me. I lived in Maui for a while. That was the first time I tried plant medicine and really connected to myself in that way.
love it.
That was something that really changed me. I've got to say that the country of Andorra, which is a small country in between Spain and France, that country changed me too. Just the way of people. They speak four languages natively. They speak English, Spanish, Catalan, and French just off the cuff. And I think they're just being, in a lot of places, people aren't just being. And I would have to say my number one is South Africa, where I live now. And just Africa in general is the it's such a rich, beautiful place of people, abundance. The reason why we're able to communicate right now in this moment is because of Africa. Like when you think about the silicon that's mined there and the cobalt and the
Recently,
material that comes from the earth. That's because the soil is rich in material and is able to technologically advance this entire world to where we're able to communicate all around the world and be able to operate these machines that are insane because of these chips that's powering, but it's basically like us connecting to the earth. So we're like plugging back into the earth to be able to use what people are calling AI, but
mhm,
really it's just Is it just some stones, some rocks, and some electricity that people put together when you dumb it all the way down? But it's us
Yeah,
just
yeah,
connected
yeah.
to the intelligence of the earth. And I think that for me, it's one of the best places you can be. And it definitely changed me in so many different ways when it's just the way I show up in the world, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 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 and I love the breakdown too of, like,
Hmm.
you're right, how we're connecting. People miss that, I think, right? We're so busy with
Yeah.
life, and we just think, "Oh, this is just works because it works," but, like, you miss the reality of, like, where is this coming from, right?
Right.
The rich resources, materials that are natural are coming from the earth, like you said, in Africa, or any other country that's, has a good amount of natural resources is, like, that's the
Yeah.
foundation, right? That's when you dumb it down, that's
Exactly.
it, and that allows
Hmm.
us to be connected to the earth or the world, but also to other people across the world, so, beautiful break.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. My next segment here is, right, Black Kids Travel, right? And really the mission behind the movement, which you briefly kinda sprinkled on a little bit in the beginning, but, really kinda wanna take a stab at this and kinda hear your perspective from it. But as you said, you founded Black Kids Travel, right, to give young people from unprivileged backgrounds access, right? Access to the kind of travel that changed your life. Tell me about the first time
It's
you took a kid somewhere that they had never been, and what did you see in that person? Maybe what, maybe emotional change or just the excitement from what, that experience was like?
so I think that the first part of your question I missed a little bit. It was a little buggy in my ears, but I heard the part where you were saying like taking a kid and also like what impacted me. I would have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say so for Black Kids Travel, so what we do is we travel as adults, as a representation. So for example, like me and you and all my boys and everybody, we come together as these adults and we actually go traveling. And we film this content of us traveling. And then with that content, we generate revenue from promoting, donations, from people trying to buy our content. And then with that money, we actually help kids travel. So we don't go traveling with the kids. We partner with foundations and organizations that actually do take the kids traveling, which is cool because it's less liability. We don't have to think about taking the parents with us, and
Yep,
we
yep.
actually get to enjoy ourselves or be our full selves and not feel like we have to watch over them. So, but this year in August, we're actually taking a group of 10 kids to the Masai Mara in Kenya. So to see the big five for the first time. So that's going to be, it's going to be insane to travel with
Yeah, that's
them.
gonna be awesome.
But yeah, but I think the thing for me is, like, when it comes to it, we were traveling through Oregon, and we were in Portland, Oregon at the time, and we went
Yeah.
through some hood in Portland. And mind you, we are from the Midwest, we from the Midwest. So the thing is, I thought that all the kids in America that struggled was from, the Midwest or from the South or maybe from the East Coast or maybe like some pockets of LA. But I was thinking that like everything else in the country was just,
Yeah,
chaos.
Gucci. Yeah.
Exactly. So we going through
Gucci.
Portland, and it's just a hood, and I'm like, "What the heck?" It's a hood too, and I see these kids are struggling, and I was like, "Man, I would love to get paid to travel, but also to get paid to help kids travel. Like that'd be the ultimate thing in this world." And me and my friend was like, "Yo,
Mhm.
let's do it." So it kept evolving from us living in Indonesia at the time. So we were helping the Indonesian people and helping the orphanages there. 'Cause it was like, yeah, we want to help these black kids travel. Let's document us actually helping out, not just like the regular people you see on the internet, but us, people that look
Mhm.
like me and you. So it's really where the inspiration or the touching with souls hit us to where we were like, damn, we can make an impact. Then we start sponsoring passports. We start going back, and then people from where I'm from, we start giving them passports, taking them to get their passport. Because for us, it was like that was a big step. So I think that was something that ignited something inside of me that I was just like, nah, this is definitely where I'm supposed to be at right
Yeah. Yeah, this is dope. Yeah.
now. Hmm.
It's really cool to see those experiences, I'm sure you're seeing these kids even when you go to Au in August, when you go to Kenya,
Hmm.
um, just to see the light turn on. Once again, to your
Yeah.
point, right, in your childhood, the
Hmm.
possibility of you can crack outside of your environment to see something
Yes.
different, and,
Yes.
that allows you to think different, see different, do different, and then
Hmm.
hopefully become different.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you've documented countries and supported or I think you said orphanages, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Orphanages, water wells,
Orphanage
hospitals, all that
on your
stuff.
work? Um,
Hmm.
can you kinda share what's maybe the long-term vision for what Black Kids Travel becomes or what you see that to becoming in the future?
Yeah, so what I see is, it's just a vessel. It's a vessel that I get to pour into. Like I don't look
Mhm.
at it as I think right now it's being exactly what it needs to be. and it's going to continuously expand as we think more grand and we partner with more people and we just dream bigger. Like this year, we're partnering with My Brother's Keeper, which is Obama's
Yeah.
nonprofit, and we're actually taking them to Ghana this year. So we're doing a whole trip with them. So I think that in the future, right now, the media goal is to document all 54 countries of Africa and make impact in every single country in Africa as we can. And that's what we see right now. And from that, I know it's going to lead to something bigger. And I know we just go as far as we can see. And then when we get there, we always see further.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like, keep the mission a mission, right? And I think anything just
Yes,
added on top of that first layer is just a plus, right? You're just
exactly.
making more impact, more engaging,
Hmm.
just refining the process.
Yes,
Yeah.
1000%. Keep refining.
Yeah, exactly. Keep refining. So you grew up in Detroit, over 100 countries later, right? You're using that
Yes,
dream to open doors for kids who look like who you are or where you came from. What
100%.
does it mean to you personally to be that bridge? And maybe you kind of already
Wow.
maybe touched on this, but
Yeah, I think it's just, to me personally, I think that my purpose here is to strive for as much influence as possible because I feel
mhm,
like there's like with influence and becomes impact, right? Like you can help as many people as possible by me just being the best version of myself that I can be. It's not like I have some ulterior motive or something. I feel like for me, it's just as long as I continuously just work on myself and just let what comes through me come through me, then I'm going to continuously impact as many people as possible. So I think that that's what it is. Just
yeah,
by me just learning that I can continuously go deeper on who it is that I really am, and I can continuously shed the layers of what I think don't align with me and go closer to my values and what I actually believe. So I
yeah,
think I just believe that I need to just continuously learn how to be myself and to continuously work on myself, and it'll get me closer to where I need to be.
yeah, man, I love that. Just a continuous evolution of just
Yes.
shedding the old you, getting better,
Mhm.
um, cutting the fat off and just
Mhm.
continue to dig in, continue to look inward. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the goal.
Yep.
100%.
Is
Mhm.
there a younger version of Akil that you're specifically maybe trying to reach out through this work? And I asked
Mm.
you answered because I think like most people, right?
Yeah.
Um, like therapists or speakers or even like
Mhm.
myself, kind of consulting stuff I'm doing, a lot of stuff you're coaching and talking about is also
Mhm.
talking to yourself, right? Like you wish you
100%.
had those resources, the tools when you were at this age, but now you have the opportunity to do it for others.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's so many people that like, I just know that people like ET was making videos, and then by me watching those
Mhm.
videos, my life completely changed. So why wouldn't I
Yeah,
be that person for other people also? And I feel like we do ourselves a disservice when we're not just doing. So
mhm.
if I just have to
Mhm.
do, then I'm going to impact the younger me, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm gonna change that, and and then really when I'm thinking about the younger me, is as you probably feel, is like that's my son, you know? My son is he's the younger me, so for me, I just do things to be a great representation for him and also to be a role model.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
definitely, definitely.
Okay, well, good. I
Mhm.
was curious there. Um, Before we keep going, what if AI didn't replace your work, but actually freed up your time to earn more money? If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed by tech and start using it to build financial autonomy, you need to plug into Akil's world. He's helping everyday individuals leverage automation to unlock real freedom. Head over to akilwade.com to join his AI community and start building today. All right, man. So let's move to the next segment here, man. We got really kind of the crypto chapter, right? It's gonna be good, man. I
Mhm.
think we're gonna obviously I'm sure they're still tuned in here, but the crypto chapter, the $150,000 loss, 3.8 million made, and then what it
Yes.
cost, right? So all of it, right? Kind of the grief, the change, and continue to move
Mhm.
forward. So the crypto
Definitely.
chapter, right, man? So over 200,000, and 150,000 lost to scams, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
and then 3.8 million made in 2 months, which is just astronomical. And then a partner
Yeah.
led attempted to kind of rug pull. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
that kind of described kind of cause, I don't know, you say real mental trauma,
Yeah.
which honestly I think is normal, like friend to friend. I think that's normal, even humans. If you can walk me through what that season actually like felt like from the inside, maybe not know some
Yeah.
of the numbers, but more just like that experience of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot, man. I learned that for me, I think that the biggest lesson that I learned, and I was talking about this earlier today, but don't choose your impulses over your values. And that's really what I learned in that case scenario because my impulse was like, oh, I'm around these guys. They're making money at the time. I met a
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
that's
yeah.
into crypto. I met another guy who's really good at trading and stuff. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life. So I was just trying to cling on to something that looked like money. And I wanted to do
Mhm.
every opportunity. And for
Yeah.
me, that was against my values with what they were planning, I guess you can say,
Mhm.
when we were joking around with the rug pull thing, and it was jokes, but I feel like when someone tells you who they are, you should listen. And I feel like at that time I wasn't really listening. I just wanted to do whatever it took to make money. So I put down everything I had at the time, went
Yeah.
negative, had to borrow money from people, and to be a part of this thing, to where we went through ups and downs, lost everything. I tried everything in those months to get this crypto thing to work. So stayed on a call, the AMA, which is like a Discord chat. I
Mhm.
stayed on it 3 times a day. So from when I woke up pretty much to when I went to bed, just like lived my life. I didn't talk to anybody, stayed in the house, just stayed on these calls, building this community, which we built a community of over 100,000 people. So that taught me how you can really get it out the mud too. You can make
Yeah.
anything work when you stick to it. You just have to have the imp to get people and talk to as many people as possible. So that was a huge thing for me. And yeah, I would just have to say that it was when you give something your all, and even when you get the thing that you want, and I thought that I got the thing that I wanted, which was money. And my business partners didn't have the best intentions, which they wanted the rug pull, which they did. And then fortunately I didn't lose all my money. But what it taught me was, even though I still made money in that case scenario, and it taught me a whole bunch of things, I still felt like at that time my I chose the impulses over my values. So in turn, I had to also suffer the consequences. And that
Yep.
was mentally for me. And I feel like no matter what you do in this world, if you always you choose your impulses over what you value, you're gonna always face those consequences. And I think of it like a credit card, right? Like when you spend money on a credit card, it feels good in the moment. You swiping,
Mhm.
it feels so good, right? But at the end of the day, you gotta pay that money back no matter what. So the more you swipe, the more you gotta pay back. And I feel like when you just choose those impulses, you just swipe it and you
Mhm.
eventually gotta pay that back. And if you just choose your values, then it's like you're using debit. You don't really have to worry about that debt thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what I learned in that experience. But that took me all the way to Cape Town, South Africa. So
Yeah.
I'm happy
Yeah.
I did it. My girl was there for me at the time. Took me to Cape Town. I grew so much through that period of my life, and now I feel like I'm in such a better place because of those lessons that I learned. So I wouldn't regret it, or I wouldn't take it back for
Yeah.
anything. It taught me a whole bunch of lessons. And it taught me how crypto works. I learned what
Mhm.
cryptology is, the language of code. I understand why it was important. Understood how the blockchain works. I understood what is an NFT, and I understood, every little thing, what a DAO is. So I think that what I learned also from that is the importance of understanding, because I didn't
Mhm.
really get it at the time. That really what we're trying to do is understand more things, because if we understand it, then we act as so.
Exactly.
So for me, that was a big, big lesson that I learned.
Yeah.
100%.
You actually took, my next question, so you answered it, because I was gonna ask you,
Mm,
what did it teach you about risk, about partnership, and about your own judgment? But I really honestly, man, as a friend, I appreciate you sharing that, because I know it can be heavy.
mhm,
You don't something you don't wanna relive. But I'm also, uh I admire you honestly, because I think what you kept on saying was values. And I feel like this is the reason for the podcast, is living coherently, right? Which is like your
mm,
thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, and your values. And there's this reduction of internal contradiction. And you were at a forking point of like, my values and money, or what I want to do, there was a contradiction. And
yeah,
obviously, to your analogy, you felt that, right? And that's heavy. And I think, the more we live coherently, the more our life expands, which is really kind
100%.
of the byline of this podcast. So, anyways, I just want to say, man, I think that was really good awareness, and I appreciate you sharing really a vulnerability that that's, yeah, absolutely, man. It's a vulnerability, man, for most people don't want to talk about, whether it's this situation or something else. They lost
Yeah.
something or failed. Yeah, it's important, and I love, once again, just kind of hammer down, is like going back to your values. Because I was
Yes.
asked that question the other day from a gentleman, Mark Waltz. Shout out to Mark, and he's a consultant, but just in this
Okay.
example, he was like, "Man, what are your values?" And the
Mm,
crazy thing, I already had it on my phone, right? And I think it's
mhm.
important for listening and tuning in, maybe take the time to what Keel said is, find your values because those won't steer you wrong. Um, and like I said, I've had my values down on my phone for a while. So just so leading with those is important. I think what I was hearing from your message of direct impulses,
100%.
steering wrong direction.
100%.
All right,
Mhm.
so I want to move forward here, man. Right, the AI world. I think this is really where I was actually excited to get into in a tree because this is why I wanted to get you on as well, man. Really, the
Yeah.
AI, the events, and what you actually believe is coming. Right. So actually, I'm really curious about your thoughts here from the early crypto to now and all
Mhm.
your background. So obviously you were working on something called searchable brain, which you talked about, right? Transforming client
Mhm.
content to searchable knowledge grass for clients like Joe Dispenza, which I don't think you mentioned, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Mhm.
Is it Lewis Hose or
Yeah,
House?
yeah. Lewis Howes, yeah.
Lewis House. And really this was before AI. Like you said, this is before any ChatGPT, OpenAI, any of that stuff, right? Which is remarkably early. What did you see coming that most people did not at that time?
You know, it's interesting because I was just following my own curiosity. I wasn't even looking forward, to be honest. Like, I was loving to I found something that was actually valuable to myself, which was
Yeah.
being able to find my own notes. Like, I've
Mhm.
got this brain where I'm like, "Where are things at?" Like, I write things down all the time, even today, and I'm
Same,
like,
same.
"Damn, I can't find what I wrote down." And then for
Yeah.
me to be able to have an organizational systems where I can find every single thing I've ever said out of my mouth and on a video, on a everything.
Yeah.
What my mentor said, I thought it was so dope. So it was me following my curiosity, and I think other people thought it was dope too. But as things got so heavy to where we got so many clients, we had to do it faster. I had to hire some people from Venezuela to go ahead to mine these brains. I hired one lady, then she hired another, she hired her cousin, then I got like 6 people in Venezuela that are working for me to be able to build out these brains and search online all the information about a company. At first, I had them literally go on Google, search these people's company, and just push Command All, get all the information on the page, push Command C, copy it, paste it, copy as much information as possible. And one of the Venezuela ladies was like, "Hey, I found this thing called machine learning we can use that's a lot
Mm.
more powerful than what we've been doing with this command, like this copy paste strategy." So it was really just me following my curiosity and having a team that was trying to do things as efficient as possible, which led me into the AI space. So I don't even think it was me really leaning too forward it. I think it was just me following my intuition and following what really was, yeah, what made me feel like I am the most connected to myself, which was seeing or improving myself. I think that's the same thing today. I just continuously look at how I can make myself better, and that takes me to the AI space.
Yep. Totally agree. Was also when you got into this curiosity, I love that you said that you led your curiosity was kind of the tail, if you will, to kind of get you there. Um, once you got to this, once you're like, oh, this is kind of nice, like one personally connected to you, right? Because like you said, your notes, you're trying to keep
Mhm.
everything in one spot. Is that when you maybe reach out to companies or where was that next step? You're like, okay, I got this in
Mm.
place. Now do I reach out to companies or we're
Wow.
already?
Yeah, so the cool thing is I never reached out to any companies. The thing is I just from there, I would follow my curiosity, build these brains. I started to make videos online about AI,
Yeah.
about Obsidian, about all these tools that I was using inside of Obsidian. And then when the whole OpenAI ChatGPT thing blew up, then
Hmm.
people online just started to naturally search what is AI. And then a lot of my videos were popping up because I was making videos on it before anybody else was.
Right.
So from that, I just rode the wave. I was like, you know what? Let me just look at these AI tools and keep just documenting what I'm learning. So as
Mm,
I would learn a tool, I would literally watch it and then I would tell people about it. I'm like, wow, this tool is really cool because it does this thing. And people are like, wow, they were learning. So people were watching. And I think that I kept following my curiosity. And companies started to notice how much power because of the following came. And then people were like, wow, I want to influence his following. So that's when brands started to come in. And then I started working with the bigger brands like the Adobe's and
mm,
working with the CapCuts and all of the big brands out there. And I think it just basically came from me just following my curiosity and also just talking about the things that I was actually interested in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. Was there a
Mhm.
specific insight that made you certain that this was kind of the direction everything was going? Maybe at that or maybe heading with
Yeah,
AI?
I think that definitely when I first realized that this thing is almost thinking for itself, like when I started
Mhm.
to do research on what an open AI is and these type of things, I was just mind blown. And I was like, wow, like this is dope.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I actually see the use case for this. So for me, I just knew it was the future from when I realized that there's something that can do work better than I can do, and anybody else that I can hire can do. Why wouldn't that be the next thing? It's just us evolving as humans, and we look like we're always just merging closer to technology. So that's what we've been doing. So it's
Mhm.
the only thing that makes logical sense to me. I'm not a type of person where I just follow things blindly. I just when I see something, then I believe it. Like if I see somebody jump off of a roof and they fall and they splat, I'm probably not gonna jump off that roof because I know I'm gonna like fall and splat. And I think it's the same thing when I seen AI come out and it was doing things better than I can. I'm like, okay, obviously this is gonna be everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's just basically my bare done insight that I've always realized. But yeah, from diving in that space when I got so deep that ungodly amount of deep in
Mhm.
the space to where learning how things work and learning and researching and also seeing times where AI did things without humans' consent and how AI created a blackmail system or AI was able to do things that we couldn't even imagine it can do. So,
Right, right.
yeah, that was really a big indicator where things were going to head in this world.
Yeah.
And now we see it all. Everybody is going to see if they haven't seen yet.
Yep, exactly. Also too, man, obviously with, things are changing, infrastructure, AI, NVIDIA, right, with their infrastructure building kinda AI factories, and
100%.
now we got Mythos and Fable 5 kinda getting governmental. I guess just, this is kinda offline, kinda off script here, but, like, what are your thoughts now from, like, inception where you kinda got on the front end till now? Do you think, because before, right, it's more of like, prompt, get an answer, right? Prompt, get an answer. My belief is that it's kinda moving away from that. Um, what are your guys' maybe thoughts or maybe your 2 cents on what things changing?
Yeah, I just look at it as if you think about, I always try to go to the top and then work backwards, right? Like start at the
Mhm.
end. If you try to start at the end or start at the top and you think about governments or people that are in power, like what are they thinking the next steps are, right? And I
Exactly.
think that if I was the government, I would want to control this system or this thing. So I would probably create a universal or a one system that everyone uses, which is true. If you look at these big companies like Grok or Anthropic, OpenAI, they're looking
Mhm.
on how do they control all human thoughts in one place. But when you have that much power, what are you able to do with it?
Exactly.
You can program the way people think. You can move mountains before mountains are already moved. So I think that, um, yeah, I think that the biggest thing, like you mentioned, is yeah, they're moving away from a chatbot like interface to where you have to chat back and forth to like well, people now they're using this buzzword. They're like, oh, Claude Code, the Codex,
Yeah,
anti
yeah.
gravity. Now they hear these words and now they think it's cool to go from not knowing how to code or not knowing how to do something to being able to think a thought and have it visualized as fast as possible. So I think we're going from a place of creation, like being
Mhm.
people are being able to create at such a fast rate, which is influencing everything. It's influencing us being more into events, going to like in-person events or us moving away from the traditional jobs. And I think that as it keeps progressing and keeps moving faster, where people hear Mythos and they're waiting for the chat GPT to drop another model, it just things just keep going to where we'll see.
Agree. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
we'll
stuff
see.
that works, but that's a good way to look at it. I think you're right, like, go up to see what would the government
Yeah,
think, and, you know,
100%.
um, shout out to my guy Brandon, B Tumblr on X and Substack, but, to your point, I think the fear is if you control everyone's mind, you kinda reduce the intelligence of humans, right? If you can take all this input, you have all this data, um, it becomes kind of a flat line of thinking rather than
Mm,
creativity, and to your
mhm.
point, kinda control and create your own silo of what you really actually want from the top. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I think going on, but I was just curious of your input because you're in it, like you've been in it before,
In it,
even a thing.
in it.
So I was curious. Also, too, I don't know if we talked offline about this, or maybe you have a quick moment to share before we move forward. Did you ever? I guess how did you stumble into searchable brains? Was that what was kind of that origin?
Yeah, so
Most
I
maybe
think, yeah, from
curious.
Searchable Brain, how I started that was I like I mentioned, I wanted to be able to visualize my own thoughts. And it
Right.
was a program called Obsidian that I was able to put all of my thoughts into one place. And a buddy, Anton Wisbisky, a buddy of
Yeah. Yeah.
mine,
Yeah.
yeah, Anton, he basically planted the seed in my mind. He was like, wow, we can help all these clients do it. Like you should turn it to an actual business because people need it for
Hmm.
client retention.
Absolutely.
If I can show it to all my clients, then from that, then we'll be able to like, you can, you tell a client like, oh, I've got a whole brain of your company. Of course they want to stay with you. So that's when it really sparked. I was like, oh, let me turn this to an actual business. So I think the origin was just like I mentioned, just following my curiosity, and then that just blossomed into me just picking a name because I didn't want to do second brains. There's a guy named Tiago Forte that does the second brain thing. So I was like, I don't want to go
Mm,
second brain. I want to go searchable brain. So that
mm,
was really the road
origin.
that I chose to go down.
Okay.
100%.
Good, good. I appreciate it. I was like, man, I don't know if someone's probably listening. Like, hey, go back a second.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't actually
100%.
get into it. Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate it. So my next question here, man, you built AI communities up to 2.4 million followers in a weekly mastermind with 40 leading AI influencers built around collaboration rather than really competition, which is, I think, really, really intriguing. How did you build that, and what made serious people? I guess take a step back, and what made serious people willing to show up to it in that
Mm.
field?
So I would say from the community aspect of the boys, my buddy Liam Otley, he's amazing. He's got the largest AI community in the world and on
Yeah,
school and huge communities. But basically, I just seen what he was doing. And I remember the moment where I saw his content. And at first I was like, damn, this dude is killing it. Like,
yeah,
this dude is
right,
killing
right,
it. This dude in New Zealand right now is murdering. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just DM him and just hit him up. I DM'd him and I'm like, bro, I love your stuff. He's like,
right.
thanks, dog. Like, let's jump on a call and everything. We jumped on a call. And he told me, he's like, man, like, I'm thinking about putting this group together with all of these people and everything. And he went ahead and did it. He started a group. He started adding people from his community that were successful and other entrepreneurs we saw that were killing it in the space. Because we were like,
Yeah,
yo, instead of like competing with these guys, let's get on these weekly calls with each other and then become boys. And that's what we did. Started this group, then made it a necessity to meet up every 6 months somewhere in the country, in the world. So at first, we went to Dubai, then we went over to Thailand, Morocco, went to Cape Town, our last one, and now we're about to meet up again in Montenegro. And we do speaking events to where we basically host 200, 120, 100, hundreds of people to where we speak because they got all the biggest guys in the AI space in one
yeah,
place. And it's if you really want your business to catapult, it's the place to be because you got all of the large people giving away all the sauce that they have, and we're just adding so much value in that room. And that's what we envision, and that's what happened. So it's been rolling.
yeah, yeah. I love that. You got the jokingly, my mind's like, you got the Monstars all in one room, all the
Exactly.
superpowers.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
So man, people make excuses. They be like, "Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. I can't be there." But I'm like, bro, look, I'm in a room full of people that are 24 years old that have made millions of dollars in a month, every month.
literally.
Like they know something you don't know. So that's what we did. We built an environment for people that are seeking to find those answers.
Also, we'll
Hmm.
make sure we'll tag you on the back end too on the show notes too. They
Thanks,
see if
G.
they can tap in. What has surprised you, man? Like, what has surprised you most about what happens when you put like 40 serious people right in the AI space in a room and tell them to share rather than compete? Like, what was that
Yeah,
like?
I think that it's crazy, man. It's just like because the thing is, what I've realized is like, I guess you can say feedback has
Mm-hmm.
been my mentor recently. So
Yeah,
so people that always mentors, my mentor is feedback. And to be able to get feedback from people that have been where you are and have done what you want to do and is doing so much better than you want to do. And they just give you feedback on what they would do differently. And obviously they know what they're talking about. And you're getting you're getting it from 40 different angles from all the best in the world. And it's impossible to not improve. And I think that
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
lot of times we just don't have enough feedback. We do something a lot and we're like, oh, I think it looks good, but it looks good to our standards. But let's just say we all had the biggest, whatever, the biggest people that created batteries for cameras in the room. Like, and then you got this dude who's just starting to make batteries, and he like, no, it's this one company in Taiwan that makes these cases, and then they give it to you for free because they just want you to fill it up with the
Yeah.
the um the lithium ion, and all you got to do. And so now you're like, what? That's what I can do. Like, so I think that that's what you
Yeah,
really
so
need to do.
like
You need to get into a place where people can help you accelerate the thoughts that you have in
yeah, man, I love that feedback.
there.
Yeah, more feedback.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
Mhm.
your vision is not, right, AI replacing human connection, which I think you're pretty, straightforward on. It is actually
No,
AI
definitely.
freeing up human time for
I
more
think
of
that I think it's doing the
the opposite.
opposite. I think that it's actually like making like humans connect more. I know people are like really against that and stuff, but then again, I'm like, okay, we had social media, which was really
Mm,
ruining human connection because everybody was living on their
I agree.
phones. But now
Yep.
AI is coming in to where now they're freeing it up, so I don't even have to make videos on social media anymore. But I can still push my message to people that want to learn. And now I can get off of social media and live in real life because of AI. You
Right, right.
know?
That was my question. I'm like, what do you think
Yes.
most people are getting wrong, right? Because to your point, I think
Yeah.
like this AI data centers and,
Mhm.
soon they're gonna take my job, which I think, yeah, some jobs might get, I wouldn't say taken, but more improved, more
Yeah.
just
I
make
mean,
it
the
better
job
or
that
more
you're doing will
effective.
just it's just accelerated. It's like a
Exactly, more
car.
accelerating.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, really that was my question, like, what do you think people are getting wrong? And it sounds like more just it's allowing you to get more connected because it frees up your
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. I mean, you can look at things in negative sense or positive sense. Yes. Okay. It's probably gonna make a lot of people stay slaves. It's gonna make
Mhm,
people, it's gonna make people work even more. It's gonna make people the gap between people like us and people that are just starting or people that aren't really
mhm.
curious. It may make that more difficult for you to gain wealth and stuff. Yes. But it gives you more opportunity. It gives you opportunity to learn. I think the thing to this isn't talked about enough, but
Yeah,
like learning is it. Like learning is in your full control. Like, no one is taking that from you. You can go on YouTube University and learn right now. You can learn all about AI. You can learn about how to make everything is there. Everything is there online. And AI gives you the
facts.
ability to learn so fast. You can tell it to learn. You can learn exactly the way you want to learn. I tell people when I'm helping them with building AI OSs, which is an artificial intelligence operating system in their business. Basically, they need to tell AI to communicate like them at their level. So if their level is if they think like a 16-year-older, tell it to communicate to you like you're a 16-year-old. So you
Yes.
can actually understand because when you understand something, that's when change happens. But if you don't understand it, then nothing's going to change in your life. So it gives you the ability to change the things in your life.
Mm,
100%.
hell yeah.
100%.
I appreciate that. Our next question too, maybe a unique question, because
Hmm.
what I'm really kinda asking is like, what does a well integrated AI future actually look like day to day for a person living inside it? And that's more maybe
Hmm.
theoretically kind of, kind of paint a picture.
Yeah, I think it's just you being able to just be, right? Like, I feel like sometimes when you feel like you have to market or you have to sell something to somebody, it doesn't feel like a referral, right? We go watch the
Mm,
movies, we go watch Avatar right now. If I tell you about Avatar, it's not like I'm selling Avatar to you, I'm referring it to you, right? And
absolutely.
I feel like that's how things are starting to become. So I feel like in a world where AI is doing the things, we just live as humans and do actually what we want to do. If that is play guitar and not feel like we gotta go online and play a guitar so that other people are learning guitar to make income. It's like, no, I get to play a guitar because I want to play a guitar. Okay, what else do I want
Exactly.
to do? Like you actually get to do the things you want to do. And then by you doing those things is you being. Because doing is being. Like if you want to be in this world, if you just want to be, you want
Yep.
to be, you have to do. And I feel like it when you feel like you can't do because of someone else wants you to do a certain thing, then you don't
Yeah.
have control over your doing, and you feel like you can't be. So I feel like AI in a perfect world is allowing you to just be by
Mhm.
it operating the things that you don't want to do. Like
That's true.
it's flat out, flat
Yes.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
Uh,
a perfect world. Mhm.
Good perspective. Because like I said, I'd be inclined to agree. Like I said, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Yeah, you're doing
Yeah, I
is
mean, you can because you can go so far with it. You can go to augmented reality, and you can go to, like, VR, and you can go to, like,
Mhm.
um, to really going ahead to where we can, see different dimensions and see things you can't see. Like, we know right now I can't see thoughts. I can't see the way that I'm thinking. I know that my brain's a transmitter receiver of frequency, but we can't see that frequency. Maybe we can see that frequency in the future. So it's things or levels that we might unlock.
Yeah. No, I agree. Quick note. Akil reminded us that the real power of AI isn't replacing human connection. It's automating the repetitive so your team can focus on presence and high value collaboration. If your company or leadership team is trying to navigate what's actually coming in the tech landscape, bring Akil Wade in. From 40-person elite masterminds to scaling digital communities over 2 million followers, Akil helps organizations build serious trust infrastructure. Connect for corporate consulting, events, or speaking engagements directly at akilwade.com. All right, man. So
Yes.
as we hit the exit coming up, man, right, you've kind of your whole arc, man. You went from tough neighborhood, right, Detroit, to over 100 countries, from ET's videographer to AI communities with millions of followers, from losing 150K to generating over 3.8 million, and from experience a world, right, building an organization um, to give that experience to the next generation with Black Kids Travel. When you look at that, right, that full expansion, that full arc, what do you know now about what a human being is actually capable of that you could not have known at the beginning?
Wow. It's a really great question.
Yeah, that's the
You
curveball.
know, I think that's where my brain went when you said that is, I'll give you an example of someone that I really look up to right now. I'm working closely with, um, and he taught me something the other day. Basically, I asked him how did he get ahead of because he's one of the heads of OpenAI. I got to sit down with him and we talked. And he told me a story about, like, how he got there, but he worked at Twitter at the time. He's at Twitter, he's like a junior guy at Twitter, he's just in the room, right? But he worked in, like, this African sector, like, trying to help Africa develop and
Yeah,
stuff. But it was a meeting that was about how they had to figure out how Twitter can basically be used all over the country of Ghana. So that was a
right.
meeting. And in this meeting, it was kind of important. Twitter wanted to be over Ghana. So basically Jack Dorsey, who was the owner of Jack Dorsey, who was the owner of Twitter, he basically said like eh, yeah, at the time he's like, "Hey, how are we going to get this how are we going to how is Twitter gonna dominate Ghana?"
Right,
And
right.
and the guy who I'm talking about right now was in this room, a junior, and everybody was coming up with all these ideas. They were like, "We can get to enterprise companies, we can do that, we can do the social media ad push, we can
Mhm.
try to get these influencers, do all that." He raised his hand. He was like, "You know what? I think how we can do it is we can get you, Jack Dorsey, to meet with the president of Ghana, and then the president of Ghana will push on his people, and there you go." And then
Right.
Jack Dorsey looked at him and he said, "Okay, make it happen in 2 weeks." And he was like, "Shit, how am
Shit,
I
yeah,
supposed to reach the
yeah,
president
dude.
of Ghana?" So he said he started doing everything. He started calling every person he know that got a cousin in Ghana. He like, "Bro, put me in contact with somebody in Ghana." He said he started calling the airport. He like, "I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
what to do. I just gotta figure this out. I gotta figure out how to
That's
get
crazy.
this guy on the phone." But he ended up doing it. So after 2 weeks, he got in touch with the president of Ghana to meet up with Jack Dorsey. And
Mm,
then he became the head of X in Africa. So then from there, he moved on to OpenAI and all his positions. But basically, he told me that like in life, what he realized and from being around these people in San Francisco and all these tech companies is you have to be super delusional. You have to be so delusional that it just doesn't make sense to anybody. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned along the journey is the reason I'm at where I'm at right now. And I got this castle in freaking Cape Town, most beautiful, most expensive neighborhood in all of Africa, and I got a
yeah.
house in France, and I get to fly around and do the things that I gotta do. I get to sit here with my baby. My son's upstairs. I get to spend all my time with him and fly my family around everywhere that we wanna go and do the things that I wanna do and be the person I wanna be and smile and just feel like I'm leaving the world in a better place is just because it's delusional. And I
Mhm.
feel like if you sit there at home and you think what you doing is okay, it's probably okay. It is okay. But if you somebody that want bigger, and you like, okay, I want to go to the next step. Just think about the craziest thing and try to do it. Think about it. Just think about the craziest thing that will be wild and try to do it. You may fall short of doing it, but by you falling short, you'll be so much higher than where you were before. And I think
Uh,
that's a summary of my life right now. I thought it'd be crazy to have a company to where we help Black kids travel and we get paid to travel around with all my boys and we go to a country like that and meet all these tribes and take pictures with tribes and ride on bulls and all of this stuff and go to the data. We did so many things, but it was just us being delusional. And somehow circumstances, situations, events, and people come into your life to bring it and make it a reality. So gotta owe it to that. Just be delusional.
yeah. Also, thanks for the story, man. I think that encapsulates
Mm,
everything that you're talking about,
mm,
and having that mindset to like really take it one step further, think beyond the box, get delusional,
mhm.
because anything is possible. Because it is crazy. Like I think even your journey, like as friends, right? Like seeing your growth is like, yeah, I'm sure Black Kids Travel is like that first level of like, damn, this is. And when you're in it, you're like, damn, like we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
You know, X months ago, this was like an idea, right?
Right.
Crazy idea, delusional. And here
Mhm.
we are. Then it's the next step into AI, right? And then now, like you said, we're traveling around the world. We got a house in France, got a beautiful house in the neighborhood in Cape Town.
Mhm.
It's like all these things, but I think that delusional mindset, in my opinion, right, can kind of have this invisible hand to push you to stretch, to expand, uh, and to look at things in a different way of like what is actually possible. Because that's when you
Yes.
start to explore, that's when you start to discover, that's when you start to do things different that you wouldn't have done because you're not thinking in the same right framework, right?
Mhm.
Traditional or conventional way of thinking it. So, anyways, my opinion,
100%.
I love that just simple phrase, just like be delusional, be
Know it,
delusional.
bro.
Yeah. So for someone listening right now, right, who grew up in a limited environment, uh,
Mm,
has not, maybe given themselves permission to believe the world is available to them, right? What do you
mhm.
say to that person?
That I feel like, wow, to a person that I just feel like you gotta realize your power. And I think that just look at the evidence, right? The evidence is you breathing right now. The evidence is you may have been a motivation to your niece, your nephew, your brother, your sister. You you're a good person. Just look at the evidence. And by you looking at the evidence, all the evidence of the things you've done that are great in this world, it builds up who you actually are. And from there, I feel like sometimes people just feel low. They feel like they're not worth anything, but you are. You're literally worth you just need to give yourself credit and stop being so hard on yourself. And I know a lot of people that grew up the way that I grew up, they're just hard on themselves because that's how you survive, right? That's how you
Mhm.
survive when you come from nothing and you're in survival all the time and everything though you feel like the world is against you. You feel like somebody always trying to take from you since you've been born because your parents taught you that and their parents taught them that. Like, you just gotta realize that, you are amazing. You're a fucking like, I had to convince myself that I'm the shit because
I love it.
I kept trying to be humble. I kept trying to be shy. I kept trying to hide the insecurities that I have. I kept not liking that I was Black. I kept trying
Uh-huh.
to talk with a twang and not I kept trying to, like, hide how I actually was because I thought
Yeah,
people were gonna
that's
judge me. At the end of the day, I'm like, "I'm the shit, bro." Like the reason why I'm sitting in the way that I generate revenue is because I'm me. I'm a Black dude from Detroit in the AI space. I'm not a white kid from Germany, you know?
yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
that makes me who I am. And then from you gotta own you. And a lot of people, especially that's listening to this, they might be from America. And the thing about America is Americans don't realize how privileged they really are. You were born in a country where you speak English. Do you
Yes.
know that when you think about it, especially even if you're Black, it don't matter, especially if you're white or you're Black, it don't really matter. If you're Black, how many Black people in this world naturally speak English? Not that many. I live in Africa right now. This some of their seventh language. They be speaking
Right, right.
Moshe, they speak Zulu and everything. So by the
Mhm.
time they even get into a place of a workforce like us, they gotta unlearn all those languages. They gotta learn a new language. They got no opportunities around them. That it literally is impossible. Like we'll try to like the loops that I have to jump through to even get a working community. People want to create a school community or make money online. They can't have a Stripe. They can't have a PayPal. So you got to think about all of these layers. And
Yeah,
also, like, yeah, you might get a computer, but what you gonna do with a computer that you can't do nothing with? Because control, right? So I think
exactly.
that, like, you got to look at how privileged you are just by speaking the language of English. My girl, she's French. Bro, when I first met her, she didn't speak English. She's a white woman that grew up in France, that grew up around, she didn't grow up in poverty at all. But the thing is, by her just speaking French, I've got such an advantage over her, straight
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
So, like, she has to learn English and then try to learn how to market in English because the market's bigger. So I'm like, bro,
yep,
y'all gotta take advantage of that. You got us Americans, you got some South Africans, you got some Australians, but ain't that many Black Australians or that many Black like South Africans that fluently speak English really
yeah,
good. And then you got people from the UK, like in England and stuff. But just look at the percentages, and not just Black people, white people too. Like, it don't matter. Like, just look at where you are right now and
mhm,
just look at all the things you've got and use that as power, because it is powerful. And then from there, you just you always have to keep fear there. You have to
mm,
fear something, because I feel like when you fear something, your actions follow. So, for example, if we're playing sport right now, we play football, right? And,
yeah,
and you play football, you was over there at Bowling Green,
yeah, yeah,
and basically, why don't you go out of bounds? Why? Like, why? I'm like the reason why is because you gonna get the ball gonna be turned over.
yep.
It's a stop. It's
Another
pu-
block.
it's punishment. It's punishment from going out of bounds. You should fear the out of bounds, because if you don't, then you're gonna lose the game. And I think it's the same thing in life. And I understand why some people are religious, because they fear when the doors are closed and they start doing dirty, that they're gonna go to hell, right?
Yeah,
But it's the
yeah,
same thing. You gotta fear being in the same place that you're in right now. you know? And that's the
yeah,
out of
yeah.
bounds.
That's
That's
real.
where you not going no more. So since that, you move with action every single day because you can. I think that's just like the advice that just came off the top of my.
Man, hey, I ain't gonna lie, we have to put the little clap, background 'cause that was it. Like, that's I could tell that came from that's
Mm,
that's real. You know what I mean? So,
mhm,
those who
100%.
on YouTube, right, later, but those who are listening, right, through different platforms, I hope, honestly, you were listening, you took what
Mm,
Akil said because, that would really a runway, right? That's the
mhm,
small process of what needs to happen, and I think too, to your point, as I've done this podcast, just honestly, I think I had to find my voice to your point of like being so like, as when you're young and you're building, you want to be likable and you want to be like,
mhm,
um, I don't know, you want to be a part of these communities. So you kind of stifle and suppress who you are to what you were talking
mhm,
about, authentic. Like I'm me, like it's who I am. I'm black. From Detroit, same thing. I'm here. I'm from Elkhart County. Like I'm from this area, and just being okay in your own skin, being authentic, showing up,
mhm.
and using whether you want to say affirmations or the word program of like I'm him, I'm me. This is me.
Yeah.
What I'm good at. This is the value I bring. This is the type of person I am. This is the character. Um, I say all of it to say like I've had to get to that point of like, no man, this is me. Like this is who I am.
Facts.
Comfortable in that and not playing small, essentially, right?
Facts.
Not playing small anymore. And then
Mhm,
point, right? Knowing how privileged we are, the opportunity we have in front of us, the people,
mhm.
right? The circumstances, and then putting the action there, right? Letting that
Yeah.
kind of fuel you forward. So all those lessons, man, are like perfectly articulated that you said there. Yeah.
Hmm.
My last question, well, second to last question here is right, where can people find you, man? Like join your AI community, follow Black Kids Travel, and really plug into what you're building now.
Definitely. I mean, just look up my name. It's Akil Wade, AKILWADE. You can find me on Google, find me on anywhere. You'll be able to reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me through email. I'm sure you can find my email online. Would love to see what you guys are working on and see how I can support in any way. So I think that's how you can find me.
Perfect. Yeah,
100%.
sounds good. And then I'll make sure once again, as always, I'll put in the show notes all your social handles, any of their
Mhm.
websites that you're a part of, so people can plug into you, try to get in
Yes.
contact if they want to get into AI space. But more importantly, man, here the last question, the famous question on this podcast, man. Right? It's called the Life Is Podcast, and I
Mm.
ask every guest at the end, man. If I ask you, right, life is blank, right, and you fill in that last little blank, a phrase or a word, what would you fill that in as?
It's funny because, like, the first thing that came to me when you said that is just it shouldn't even be a word there.
Right. That's the way that's
Like,
crazy.
life is. Like, that's my phrase, bro. Like,
I
life
love, hey, and
is
we'll
everything.
we'll take it because it's so real. It really is. I think that's the
Mhm.
beauty of it.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's deep because when you think about life, life is life. Like, you can't really explain what life is. You can try to put a
the
thing on
label
it,
on
but
it.
to know
Yeah.
something, but you don't really know it, you know? It's just we make our own assumptions, so it's just life is. It just
Mm-hmm.
you just be.
And you create, right? You create,
Yes.
be, and do. Well, I'm gonna
Mhm.
take that, man, because I think that's so true. I think that honestly, that was the reason of the podcast. Life is,
Mhm.
and whatever, if you want to
Yes.
create a label on the back end, or you just want to leave it blank, um,
Yes.
that's your prerogative, that's your thought process. But I think that is the beauty of it.
Yes.
We can operate from that mindset. So,
100%. Love
other
it,
than that,
bro.
man, Akil, man, this has been great, man. I love it. I
Thank
really
you, brother.
appreciate, honestly, from a person to person, friend to friend. I appreciate the time that you taking because I know you're well, I don't know, 6, 7 hours ahead of us, and
Yep. In the
you got
future
the
over
little
here.
one in the background, right? I
Yep.
heard him earlier, so I get it. But
Mhm.
I appreciate it taking the time for myself, but also those who are going to be tuning in and be able to pick up the value that you're sharing, your wisdom, your experience, and your journey,
Mm.
and hopefully able to package that up and use it for their own lives.
Appreciate you, brother. That was amazing.
Yes. Thank you. Well, hey, man, I'm going to let you get back to it. Continue to do great work, man.
Likewise, bro. Thank
All
you,
right, man.
brother. Alright now.
Take care.
Thank you.
I have known Akil for years, and what I've watched across all of it, the travel, the crypto, the AI communities, the betrayals, the breakthroughs, is someone who keeps choosing expansion over contraction. Every time something ended, he asked what was next rather than what was lost. That is not resilience as a buzzword. That is a practice orientation toward life. In Black Kids Travel is what happens when a person turns that orientation outward. When the expansion you earn becomes a door you hold open for someone who was told the world was not for them. That is not charity. That is coherence. Life expands in proportion to internal coherence. And Akil Wade has been proving that across 6 continents. Till next time, I'll see you in the next episode. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Life Is podcast. If something in this conversation landed for you, a shift in perspective, a reminder, or something you needed to hear, don't let it stay there. Take it with you, put it to work. If you're ready to go deeper, I have tools built specifically for this journey, a self-discovery blueprint and a diagnostic designed to show you exactly where your foundation needs attention. Links are in the show notes. And if this episode added value, share it with someone who's building, leave a review, help us grow this community of intentional people doing real work. Remember, fulfillment isn't found, it's built. Life is art in motion, and you are the artist. Until next time, keep building.